So some months back, I made a video about the Samsung Note 10 Plus, which was more or less my daily driver for most of my creative works. And I made a video talking about the Note 10 Plus in the perspective of using flagship 2019 phone in 2023, 2024 and beyond. And I was able to show you that this phone actually has a lot of things up its sleeve that people were asking for a comparison between the Samsung Note 10 Plus and the last of the Notes, the Samsung Note 20 Ultra. We all know now that Samsung has merged the Galaxy S series and the Note series into just one line. And now we have the S22 Ultra, we have the S23 Ultra. But can the last of the Notes, the Samsung Note 10 Plus and the Samsung Note 20 Ultra, compete with the competition? And not just only that, which of these notes actually does well for a phone that can stand against the competition today? So starting with the design is pretty much the same when it comes to the form factor. However, the Samsung Note 20 Ultra is just a little bit taller. The screen is about 6.9 inches compared to 6.8 inches on the Samsung Note 10 Plus, which is not really much anyway. But then the Samsung Note 20 Ultra is a little bit bulky when it comes to the weight and the size. The Samsung Note 10 Plus has a glossy finish, aluminium finish and all that. They both have curved screens, but then the Note 20 Ultra has this matte finish, which gives it a more premium look. The Samsung Note 10 Plus has Gorilla Glass 6 in front and Gorilla Glass 5 at the back, while the Samsung Note 20 Ultra has Gorilla Glass Victor. Both IP68 rated when it comes to water resistance. The biggest differences when it comes to the way they look and the way they are designed comes when you look at the camera bump. The Samsung Note 20 Ultra has quite some bit of a camera bump, and this might be something to consider for some people, but then for me, I really don't think it's an issue. But then there's a reason why we have the bump. We have this 108 megapixel sensor, zoom sensor on the Samsung Note 20 Ultra, which we'll come back to later. Another significant difference is the button placement. The button placement has been switched for the Note 20 Ultra. It's no more on the left side as you have it on the Note 10 Plus. Is now on the right side. Also, the stylus has been switched from being on the right to the left side. So going to the screen, they have more or less the same screen. They are both AMOLED screens. They are both QHD, but the biggest difference is in the refresh rate. The Samsung Note 20 Ultra has a 120Hz refresh rate compared to 60Hz refresh rate on Samsung Note 10 Plus. However, that is not a problem for me, but then we are in 2023 now. We have even mid-range phones having 90Hz, 120Hz refresh rate. So if that's a thing for you, that's a big bummer. But then there's a caveat to the 120Hz that the Note 20 Ultra has. It only works in 1080p. So if you're on QHD resolution, you don't get to have that 120Hz. So you switch back to 60Hz, which is kind of counterproductive in a way, but then it is what it is. The color science is invariably the same, nothing different. Samsung colors always pop and they still maintain that. The Samsung Note 10 Plus has 12 GB of RAM and 256 GB of storage for the base model, compared to 8 GB of RAM and 128 GB of storage on the base model for the Samsung Note 20 Ultra, which for me is really concerning, because for the price of what you can get, for the price at which you can get the Samsung Note 10 Plus today, getting 12 GB of RAM and 256 GB of memory, not to mention the fact that it also has extra storage for an SD card. That's a lot for what you'll be getting the Samsung Note 10 Plus. But then, now looking at the Samsung Note 20 Ultra, it just feels somehow. So you have to pay more because there are actually other iterations of the Samsung Note 20 Ultra which actually has up to even 12 GB and 12 GB RAM and 512 GB of storage, but then you have to pay more. Just the fact that the base model, like the lowest prototype of the Samsung Note 10 Plus, comes with 12 GB and 256 GB, 12 GB of RAM and 256 GB of memory is something really. The Samsung Note 10 Plus has the Snapdragon 855, while the Note 20 Ultra has the Snapdragon 865, and we have the 9825 Exynos on Note 10 Plus and the 990 Exynos on the Note 20 Ultra for the global versions. The difference in performance isn't all that crazy. Same thing goes for the GPU. You can run the same kind of games on both the Samsung Note 10 Plus and the Note 20 Ultra. I'm a video editor and I do a lot of video editing on my Samsung Note 10 Plus. But how well does the Samsung Note 20 Ultra do when it comes to video editing? For me and in my experience, it's basically the same. The processing is very similar, and I don't see any significant difference in the Samsung Note 10 Plus and Samsung Note 20 Ultra. And then coming to the camera, which I'm sure most of you really want to hear about. There's some bit of significant difference when it comes to the camera, part of which is responsible for the huge camera bump that you have at the back of the Note 20 Ultra. So the Note 20 Ultra comes with a main camera of 108 megapixel, which is actually an effective pixel of 12 megapixels. So there's this thing they call pixel binning, which actually combines a group of pixels in one pixel to give a very sharp picture. So the effective amount of pixel it actually gives out from that 108 megapixel is actually about 12 megapixels. So if you're looking for very good resolution on the main camera, the Note 20 Ultra does well with this, with its 108 megapixel sensor. And this 108 megapixel sensor has a fixed aperture, not a variable aperture like the Note 10 Plus. So that makes the main sensor actually very good when it comes to separation of the subject from the background, and that blurry, continual blurry effect that you have when you want to separate a subject from the background. On the Note 10 Plus, we just have a 12 megapixel main sensor, which actually has a variable aperture. The pictures that come out of the Note 10 Plus are actually good, especially the main camera. They are not all that so much different from what comes out of the 108 megapixel on the Note 20 Ultra, just that the Note 20 Ultra packs a lot more detail, of course 108 megapixel. For the zoom lenses, we have a 12 megapixel 2x zoom camera on the Note 10 Plus, which can zoom digitally up to 10 times, compared to the 12 megapixel 5x zoom lens on the Note 20 Ultra, which can zoom digitally up to 50 times, which is fantastic, but it's digital zooming anyway. Talking about the difference is just in basically the zoom capability, the optical zoom. Basically you have 2x and then 5x. That's all. The quality isn't really all that different. And then going to the ultra wide camera, we also have a 12 megapixel on the Note 20 Ultra, but this time around we have a 16 megapixel on the Note 10 Plus. However, I feel that the quality that we get from the Note 20 Ultra's ultra wide is actually better than the 60 megapixel we get on the Note 10 Plus from my experience. And then for some reason, the pictures that we get from the Note 20 Ultra are a little bit not as poppy as the Note 10 Plus. So there's these Samsung colors that are baked into their pictures. I think there's a little bit of toning down when it comes to Note 20 Ultra. It's not all that so much different, but then I could notice it. The selfie camera, which was surprising for me, are exactly the same on both. They are both 10 megapixel cameras with the same aperture, and they take the same kind of videos, 4K 60 FPS, nothing more, nothing less. The exact same. So you are getting the same experience from the Note 20 Ultra and the Note 10 Plus when it comes to selfies. When it comes to the video capabilities, especially on the rear cameras, that's where the Note 20 Ultra actually shines more. The Note 20 Ultra can shoot up to 8K at 24 frames per second. It also has better resolution, of course, due to the 108 megapixel, and the color science is a bit better. Not to mention the fact that I use the laser autofocus, which, well, I haven't really seen so much advantage that laser autofocus has over time of flight on the Note 10 Plus. Then there's this thing called director mode, in which you can actually combine the rear camera and the front camera. So the front camera actually just has a little box, and then you can see the rear camera. So basically what you can do in director mode is that you can shoot with both front and back at the same time. So it could divide your screen lens, it could divide your screen into two while it's recording what's on the front and what's at the back. So if you're a vlogger and you want to maybe do an interview and want to have two perspectives or something and be able to monitor that on your camera, that would be a good thing. When it comes to stabilization and every other thing, I think it's more or less the same on both cameras, at least in my experience. When it comes to the stylus, the biggest differences in the stylus placement has been changed, like I said earlier, from right to left now on the Note 20 Ultra, and also the stylus now is a little bit faster. So the initial one on the Note 10 Plus was actually about 42 milliseconds latency, while that on the Note 20 Ultra is about 9 milliseconds, so 42 to 9. So I didn't feel so much of a difference when it comes to writing, but when it comes to doing some fine work like, you know, drawing and all that, you would actually feel the difference. Every other function is basically the same when it comes to Bluetooth and AR features and all that. It's more or less the same. Talking about the battery, they have close run times. The difference in use is not all that, you know, big and all that. For average use, everyday use, you know, and all that, you won't see any much of a difference. But however, I noticed something. When you use the 1080p 120Hz mode on the Note 20 Ultra, it actually tends to die faster than using the QHD on the Note 10 Plus, which is odd because I want to have the experience of the 120 hertz on my phone, and I'm running even at a lower resolution. So why would my battery die faster? Well, I can explain that. That's how battery run times actually work. So that could actually be a bummer. For me, I would actually prefer to just be on QHD mode and, you know, have more time. When it comes to Nigeria here, you should be able to get the Note 10 Plus refurbished or new for between 250k to 350k, depending on where you're buying it from. And for the Note 20 Ultra, you should be able to get it for between 300k and 500k, depending on when it's refurbished or where you're getting it from too. You could actually get them at cheaper prices if you're getting them used. Yes, you can get them. You can get the Note 10 Plus for as low as 200 and something thousand naira, and you can get the Note 20 Ultra for as low as even 300,000 naira or even less if you are getting it used. If you're going to be getting the phones on Amazon, you're going to be spending about $300 to about $600 or $700 when it comes to the Note 10 Plus, and about $350 to $800 when it comes to the Note 20 Ultra. The prices also depend on different sellers. On other platforms too, the prices fall around, you know, these ranges. So what's our verdict? Which is better between the Note 20 Ultra and the Note 10 Plus? Well, the Note 10 Plus is much sleeker, it's thinner and lighter than the Note 20 Ultra. But then the Note 20 Ultra is more of a glorified Note 10 Plus, in all honesty. If you're looking for high refresh rates and you're looking for high resolution pictures, then you could go for the Note 20 Ultra. You're also looking for 8K video, which I wonder who is taking 8K videos. Then you can go for the Note 20 Ultra. Like I said, the selfies are basically the same. You're going to be doing front-facing video most of the time. I think you can still stick with the Note 10 Plus. The Note 10 Plus is still great, very much great, even now and beyond this period. But then the Note 20 Ultra has just a few more perks, but it doesn't totally decimate the Note 10 Plus. Both can handle almost the same things you throw at them when it comes to processing speeds and all that. And not to mention, when it comes to the software, actually, software updates are supported up to Android 12 for the Note 10 Plus and Android 13 for the Note 20 Ultra. So 12 and 13, I can't say there's so much of a difference between the two when it comes to real life use, especially with the fact that you have one UI which actually has a lot of functionality. You might not be missing so much between Android 12 and Android 13. If you really have the cash for, you know, spending and, you know, getting the latest and best, I'll probably say maybe go for the S22 Ultra or S23 Ultra. Those are really great phones, but you know, you'll be missing a lot. You'll be missing having that extra storage. You know, the Note 20 Ultra and Note 10 Plus still have the SD card support, which is very, very important to me. And the fact that they are much cheaper. I'd rather have two Note 10 Pluses than have an S23 Ultra. If you're really tight on your budget, I would say go for the Note 10 Plus. It really does very well. But if you're concerned about the little perks and the added features that you have on the 20 Ultra, then probably go for the Note 20 Ultra. The difference in prices are actually not all that much, and getting any of the two, you won't be making any mistake. But for me, I think I might stick with the Note 10 Plus for a while before maybe thinking of going to the Note 20 Ultra, or perhaps maybe going to the S23 Ultra, or probably whatever is out by the time I get tired of using my Note 10 Plus. But for now, I think I might just continue using my Note 10 Plus, and I'll see how things go with it. Both of these phones also have the capability to use Samsung DeX, both Samsung DeX wireless and Samsung DeX using the USB Type-C port. Samsung DeX just basically helps you get more productivity from your phone by giving you the ability to project your phone on your PC and have that PC experience of your apps, which is really very beautiful. Samsung DeX is a very beautiful thing, and I can't and I won't trade that for any other thing. They are both on Samsung Note 10 Plus and Note 20 Ultra. So whichever one you take, you're good. So what do you think? Are you using a Note 10 Plus or using a Note 20 Ultra? What has been your experience so far? You can let us know in the comment section. And if you have any questions or any concerns, you can also ask. Oh well, so thank you and see you in the next one.